Welcome to The Way Home with Laura Smith, the show that brings you wonderful guests, helpful advice, and uplifting stories. The Way Home. Live inspired. Here's your host, Laura Smith.
Last year, I had the distinct honor of interviewing an author by the name of Lori Elizabeth Murphy, who had written her first book called Dream Me Home, a psychological thriller, romance, and intrigue, and courtroom drama. You name it. Everything was in this book. I fell so in love with it. And now everyone that I have spoken to that I've recommended it to feels exactly the same way. But she's back because there needed to be a sequel. And then I think there's going to be a third. Lori, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Laura. It's so nice to be here.
How much I enjoyed our talk a year ago. I think it was about a year ago. I'm not quite sure. Was it? Okay.
It was. Uh-huh.
When Dream Me Home came out. And I just was, well, first of all, I was amazed because when in reading your bio and how you had gotten your start in writing, you did not get your start in writing. You've had myriad careers that led up to this writing happening after your retirement. So it's so fascinating me. You were a nurse, a registered nurse. Then you became a licensed psychotherapist and you retire from that. And you're also a painter and so much more. But then you write this first book, which, you know, for a lot of people, they write a first book and it's just something they get off their to-do list, a bucket list type of thing, and they feel good about it. And that's it. You go on to win many awards with Dream Me Home. Tell us about that process. How did that happen? And I know why it happened because the book is so beautiful and so good. But what was the process in getting you with a first-time book into all these awards?
You know, I couldn't have written, I have so many books in my head, and I really had no time to write them between different careers and raising 4 children and all of that. But, and you know, I miss my husband terribly, but he passed away, and I could not have written the book without him being gone because he was a psychologist and he would have killed me if I was going to write about Dr. Sherman, who was one of the characters in the first book, because Dr. Sherman didn't like women very well, and he twisted and turned people's minds and made them believe that they were crazier than they were. So I had to wait. But that was how that book came about, and I thought I was finished. It really was supposed to be a love story, but the love story didn't come till the very end of that book. And I thought, okay, now that's over and I can get on to other things in my head. But a lot of book clubs wrote to me and said, hey, we love the book. Whatever happened to Rob, the celebrity plastic surgeon? Whatever happened to that, blah, blah, blah. Then I'm like, okay, they were fictional characters. They're not here anymore. And they said, no, but we need to know, did Dr. Sherman ever go on to practice? So I said, you know what? Let me do a second book. And that flowed nicely out of me. And so then I thought, okay, now I'm done with this. I still have more to write of other things. And people said, you know, this ending made me know there was more to the story. And I was thinking, I can't be done with this now. So there's a trilogy, and I'm in the middle of writing it right now.
Oh, my gosh. And how do you know it's just a trilogy? Did you make that decision, or do the books make the decision for you? How is that going on?
Well, my characters, you know, they're all fictional, but once I breathe life to them by putting them on the page, they are sort of pulling me along saying, hey, this is let me shine in the daylight. And so I've already had a talk with all of them and said, this is your last hurrah. We're done after this book, because I got other stuff to do.
Yes, you are a busy woman, and it really astounds me because your writing prowess is quite remarkable in the sense of mystery, in the sense of leading up to, in the sense of thriller, and in the almost psycho/spiritual way in which you infuse all of these things together within each of the characters and the plot itself. And not to mention the courtroom stuff, which makes me feel like, are you sure you weren't a lawyer or a prosecutor in your last life? Because seriously, like it's so real.
Well, I've been called to court on cases that I had. So I watch very carefully, and I have several friends that are attorneys. So, you know, listening to the jargon, and, you know, who doesn't love watching the Lincoln Lawyer on TV and all that? So, you know, you pick things up as you go along. But my characters really, you know, when you get a book and the plot's really good and you read it, but you don't really remember who the secondary characters are, and you have to keep going back and going, who is this again? I don't like that. Or the characters are good, but the plot just falls apart. I don't like that either. So I said, let me write what I would like to read. I want every character to be so important to the story that people know exactly who they are and they can hear a different voice for every character, even though it's on paper. And that's what I've tried to do. I think I did a pretty good job at that. So
you did an amazing job at that. Your characters are so defined and rich in layers upon layers and texture. So much so that, yes, I asked if I could do your audio version of Dream Me Home.
And you did.
To which you said yes, which has been honestly one of my greatest joys in the last decades of being able to do that. I've done other audiobooks in my life before. I've done voice acting now since 1989, a long, long time. But doing your book was, for me, it was a full circle moment because I went to college as an actor. And I am, playing characters my entire childhood and then through college. That's what I lived for and I loved. So when I switched everything over to voiceovers and radio, I've missed being able to play different characters, but getting to read or narrate, I should say, Dream Me Home by Lori Elizabeth Murphy was this incredible feeling of here, come get me. I've got 8 characters going on one page. And it was, for me, it was thrilling. So I thank you for creating this avenue, this book
I thank you for giving them life because, I've read the book, obviously, rewrite after rewrite after rewrite. And believe me, there was at least 50 because each time I'd write a page and I think, whoa, look at me. Aren't I the best writer ever? And then I'd go to bed. And in the middle of the night, I'd get up and I'd think, she would have never said that. He would have never done that. And I'd have to go erase the whole page every single time, start over and rewrite it until it was the sentence on the page had to be perfect. I'm not perfect in my real life. I don't care. I'm very easygoing. On paper, it has to sound real. And so you made it real. And I didn't read it out loud aloud. So the first time I ever heard it was when you narrated it in the audiobook. And I was listening to it in my car. And I was like, this is really fun. I mean, I love this book. And I was a little nervous thinking, oh gosh. And I wasn't nervous for you because you did great. I was nervous for me thinking, I hope I didn't mess anything up, but I loved it. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. No, I can't thank you enough. It was so much fun again, the characters being as rich as they were and having to go between them, sometimes 5 different people on one page. Mm-hmm. It was just so, you did it so perfectly. The things that came out of their mouths was so perfect that it just was easy. It happened just spontaneously because of the way you wrote them. So that was perfect there. So for anybody listening to this right now, you must read Dream Me Home. It was Lori Elizabeth Murphy's very first book, came out last year. The audiobook with me narrating is with it as well. You get it on Amazon, wherever books are sold. It has won. How many awards did you actually win for Dream Me Home?
11 awards. I know. I could not have envisioned that ever for my first novel. I was blown away, really.
When that happened, did you get asked by a major publishing house to be picked up, or how does that work?
No, I wasn't. I have had many, many phone calls. I have a publicist who said, just ignore all those phone calls because, we're on the road to where we're going. But I did hook up with, I'm not supposed to say their name, but somebody who's looking into making this a series on TV. So,
and that was my next question. It must be.
So you should say, though, that now you're narrating my second book, Dream Me Dead.
Yes, exactly.
and I haven't heard that yet because you haven't finished it yet, but I can't wait.
I'm telling you it. So I wanted to get Dream Me Home out there so everybody would know that now we're on to Dream Me Dead. Okay. A story of betrayal, infidelity, and love. Both of your books, Dream Me Home and Dream Me Dead, have the same, what do you call that? A tagline or byline or
yes, like a
qualifier?
Tagline. And so will the third book, which is
Okay.
called Dream Me Back.
And it's
And
completely true because Dream Me Dead is absolutely all of that in one story of betrayal, infidelity, and love. And they're so interweaved throughout it. Just when you think your heart can't take another moment of this like intrigue and no, this is impossible. Who did this? How could this happen? Boom. You'll weave some love through there that'll sort of let you breathe a little bit. I'm telling you, these are just the most spectacular, fun books. I have a lot of friends who have read them, and I'm just getting incredible feedback on them. Yes, they are loving them, and they also say, "I can see this as a series." So would it be like a Netflix type of thing,
well,
or would it be?
I'm hoping for Netflix, but they have to pitch it, and so we'll see. I think they're waiting for the third and final book because if somebody picks it up, they want to see in entirety, where will we go for 3 seasons? So I'm writing as fast as I can. But, it's not like I haven't always been a writer, but I've only been a writer in my head. And when I was growing up as a teenager, we'd all go to the movies and all that. And pretty soon they'd say to me, we're not inviting you to come with us because you never, ever just let us watch the movie without saying, don't you think that this scene could have been different if this happened? Don't you think the ending could have been better if it was this? And they said that you just ruined it for all of us. We just wanted to stay with that. So I've been writing things always. I've just been too busy to put it down. And now I have time.
And now you have time. And so you finished Dream Me Dead. And that one has a little bit more of an ominous sound to it. But there's a lot of, like I said, redemptive points within the book where you're like, oh, I love that thread of the story. And I just like, thank goodness, because my heart was, palpitating, even though I'm narrating the book. I've read the book, but it's so intriguing as you're reading every word on the page. And it does help once again that you have all of these, obviously these gifts and these careers that you've lived throughout your life. Yeah. So there's a feeling of expert quality about it. Don't feel like you're going, no, that would never happen.
Well, for the medical part of it, as a nurse, I knew the medical part. First of all, we should say that the main character, Peggy Prescott, is narrating this book from page 1 in book 1 from the dead. And she continues to narrate it all the way through for the whole trilogy, really. And so she gets a 360-degree view. We know our friends only as well as they let us know them, or people that we meet. But she gets to see everything, all of the intricacies of the personalities and the secrets that they hide. And she gets to say, let me tell you who these people really are. And I think that I don't know how I could ever do another book without narrating it from the dead, but I know I can't do that forever. But it was so much fun because she got to tell you all of the secrets and the hidden gems that we wouldn't ordinarily be able to know.
Absolutely. That is one of the big surprises, I think, of the series, is that it is narrated by her from the dead. And you're trying to wrap your head around, and you've got this sense of mystery throughout it, but there's this ethereal sense, again, almost of a ephemeral quality, I guess. And that's the spiritual part of, seeing things from the perspective of being in the afterlife and looking back on your life on Earth.
And don't forget, 38 years of therapy. I've heard so many stories from so many patients. And this is just, I guess I kept them all in the recesses of my mind. And when I was writing each character, things would come out and I'd think, oh, yeah. And so it's loosely based on everything I've ever heard from anybody. And I don't think I could have written this without hearing stories that make you go jaw dropping, like, what? And so then it's a takeoff on all of that. So I really had to thank my patients in all my acknowledgments because.
Yes. And I was wondering, because I was thinking to myself, these seem too outrageous almost to be real. But then I thought, no, I have a feeling there somewhere within her long, illustrious career as a psychoanalyst, she's heard some of these stories before. Now, do you have anybody reading your book that has reached out to you and said, hey, you're telling my story there?
No. I've managed to camouflage everything and blend like maybe 10 personalities into one person. So nobody really gets to pick themselves out.
That's tremendous.
Yeah.
So you've finished Dream Me Dead. It's available.
Yes.
wherever fine books are sold, yet again,
Yes.
on Amazon, anywhere. Is this going through any process of a second shot at awards for this?
We haven't, it's only been out, really out. The first one went out slowly, not because of me, because of Amazon. And then I realized there was a couple typos. The typos wouldn't have really made a big difference to anybody else, but they made a difference to me. So I pulled it back, corrected the couple typos, and now it's back out again. So the publicist hasn't sent it out for anybody to review, but I have gotten paid reviewers and other reviewers. And so far it's only been out about 6 weeks, and I've gotten 25 actually today, really good reviews. And I'm thankful to everybody. I never reviewed a book in my life, even though if I loved it, because I didn't know it was so important. So if anybody's out there, even if you're not reading my book, but you're reading somebody else's book and you go, that was great, you really should go and review it, because it matters.
Yes. Is it Amazon itself that has its own rating system, or is it Goodreads or something? I know that you can go.
It's on Goodreads as well as Amazon, and I think there's some other places, but Amazon really, it'll give it stars, but it'll also print out the entire review, and then AI up top takes all the reviews and puts them into one big paragraph. So if you don't want to read everybody, but you want to know, I wonder if I like this book, you can get the synopsis from AI.
Yes. And you can also, if you want to hear the audio version on the book, you can also get a snippet of that.
Yes.
If people want to, if a lot of people like to listen to audiobooks when they drive, a lot of people prefer having a hard copy in their hands. Other people prefer to read on Kindle. So it's like everybody's different. But you're having it available for everybody, and Dream Me Dead's audio narration will be out very soon. But, I wanted to know, do you know enough about the process of when a book series is taken for it to be considered to be some type of episodic series on television or Netflix or something like that? Have you heard about what that process is like? Like, will they be able to change scenarios or people or endings or things like that? Have you heard?
You know what? I'm a terrible researcher. And so I never go ahead of myself. I'm just thinking, wouldn't it be great if it could get picked up as a series? If that happens, I guess I'll delve into, okay, well, who owns what and can they change it? Because I'm pretty territorial about my writing. I don't want anybody changing anything ever.
No.
And so I don't know what I would do. I'm sure that they would have to change something to make it fit into, 10 episodes a year and all that. But I definitely do not want them to, make big changes, because these characters, their story continues on and on and on. So if they change it in book 2, then book 3 doesn't make sense.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But oh wow, I really honestly think you have a very good chance. Just by reading the first 2, that this will be turning into something more. But it's great that this is a genre. When I tell people, they're like, well, what's the genre? And I pause a little bit, and I always say psychological thriller, romantic. And I put all these things into it.
Because when you say psychological thriller, it's not scary. I mean, there's one little chapter in the first book that, you have a little pause, okay, but it was necessary. But the rest of it really is just like real life, but you don't know, it didn't happen to you, but it's possible that it could happen, with the exception of a little bit of the paranormal that you either can decide you like or decide that really didn't happen anyway. So I have people that go 50-50 on it, and that's fine. Either way works. I know what I meant, but it's up for interpretation.
Absolutely. And I think from the get-go, you get that this story has the element of the paranormal in it. But yet it feels very, very, very much in reality. So it doesn't feel like something so mystical, like some kind of, fantasy novel. No, right, it's not sci-fi. It's not fantastical. It really is. It feels like a very realistic book. Psychological thriller meets romance meets this, but there is that element that I think makes it different. But you don't do it in a way that's cheap or that feels just kind of like, oh, let me throw this in because that's kind of the in thing to do right now. It is very intentional. It does weave perfectly throughout the story. And once you can suspend your disbelief and just really accept, okay, this is where this book goes, then it's fabulous. Then it's a ride. It's a ride. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well,
I really enjoyed it. And stay tuned for book 3 because I think you're going to be shocked.
Are you able to tell us what the title will be, or do you save that?
The title is going to be called Dream Me Back. So I have the first one's Dream Me Home, the second one's Dream Me Dead, the third one will be Dream Me Back. And
I love it.
And the second book, Dream Me Dead, opens with a court drama because the husband is accused of murdering his wife. We don't know where that goes unless you want to read the book. But the third book ends up explaining to those people who continue to ask me questions, because I keep thinking I've answered them all. It's so laid out that it's no longer going to be open to interpretation until the end. And then I'm sorry, but
yes. And that is something I want everyone to know, whether it's Dream Me Home, the first book, or Dream Me Dead, the second one. You literally do not know what is happening until the very last sentence. You can't even guess where it's going until the last sentence. That to me is remarkable. That's a gift. I can't imagine how you made that happen. But I was sitting there while I was doing the audio narration, and I'm with my editor, and we looked at each other and we screamed. We were like, what? We just completely lost it in real time. And we knew the story, but it was just actually, we saved the very last part. We didn't read ahead or anything because we wanted to be surprised.
Well, guess what? How do you think I felt? Because I never know. Believe it or not, and I know people write differently. I don't make outlines or anything like that. I start with my characters, I develop them, and then if I want them to go in a different direction than they want to go, that's what's called writer's block. And they're like, no, not going there. So they're taking me on the journey. But when I got to the end, I was like, are you kidding? This is where you're going with this? So, all I do is put down what they want to say on paper. That's it.
And, this is what I've heard in my many interviews with writers, is that they all talk about the sense of the characters sort of taking over and writing the book themselves, like as if they are real tangible beings. You're not the first one who said that.
It's like it's been channeled. Like when I was in my car and I had my playlist, I had music going, and all of a sudden there was your voice. And I didn't realize that the audiobook was also on my playlist. And so I'm driving and I'm listening to it. Honestly, I can hardly remember writing some of those sentences. I mean, I know I wrote them, but it was almost like you're in the zone so much that you really don't have a sense of, when you read it, it's one thing, your eyes know it. But when you're hearing it, you're like, whoa, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's like you got some kind of mystical download from the universe. I mean, it's really that good. I encourage everybody, if you want a great read, it doesn't matter whether it's a summer read, a fall read, it's a good read for any time whatsoever. Fabulous book series now turning into a trilogy. The first one is Dream Me Home, and the second one is Dream Me Dead. They're both written by the wonderful Laurie Elizabeth Murphy, who I've gotten to know. And you are really yourself an intriguing, wonderful person who you live your gifts in so many ways that I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that you listen to the impulse to follow your heart and write your books. And the world is a more joyful place as a result of it.
Thank you, Laura. That is so nice of you to say. And we should say, if you haven't read the first book and you don't feel like buying 2 books, the second book stands on its own. I mean, you'll miss a lot of, the depth of the characters that come in the first book, but you don't have to read the first book to enjoy the second book.
Yes, which is another masterful quality that you have. However, I urge you, read all the books. Read both of them for now, and then the third one when that one comes out. Laurie Elizabeth Murphy, you can find her online on Amazon. Again, the series is Dream Me Home and Dream Me Dead. Easy to remember. And go out and get them today. You won't be sorry. And when the narration for the second book is finished, actually the narration is done. The editing is what's taking a few more days, but it'll be out there soon. And I'm telling you, everybody, even my mother, who's 88, she's loving this. So it's like, yeah, it's for any age, honestly. I think, what age would you put the categories of the books in?
Well, my grandson, who's only 14, and I didn't think would even read anything, grabbed it and read the first one and then couldn't wait for the second one. Personally, I think it's more for people that are in their 20s and to 100.
Yes. Yes.
Because you have to have some experience with whatever's in there to know, people are not always good. Things don't always happen the way they're supposed to. I don't know at 14 that you can, it's really not a young adult book, although he really loved it. So
that's incredible. And I think that's a testament also to the writing. When the writing is that good, anyone will love it. So again, the book series is Dream Me Home, Dream Me Dead by Laurie Elizabeth Murphy. Get your hands on them and just enjoy every step of the way. You're a marvel. Thank you so much, Laurie.
Thank you, Laura. Maybe I'll see you next year for my third book.
I sure hope so. Hope so. Yes, indeed. Go to Amazon right now and get it, download it, and buy it. Either way, and it'll come in a day because I've bought them for friends, and it comes overnight. So it's a great.
They won't be sorry. It's a page turner.
It is, and it's won so many awards already. You won't want to miss these. Thank you, Laurie Elizabeth Murphy.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you for listening to The Way Home. Each and every one of you are a part of The Way Home family, and we just wish for nothing but great happiness and safety and good health and prosperity, success, everything that you can possibly have to make your life a good one. And we'll see you next time on The Way Home. I'm Laura Smith.
Podcasts by Federated Media.